Good evening, all. Ira Epstein, and here we are on Thursday, the 22nd of December, 2022, 7:15 p.m. Hey, I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, both going on at this point. Understand that I will put out my weekly updates again for you this week. I don't know if I'll do them tomorrow or if I'll do them on Saturday. We're not open on Monday, so I get that extra day and we'll see where I want to do it, but I will do the weekly versions. I want to remind you, and it's important, that we are running our outside day course, and this is your holiday special. A lot of you taking advantage of it now. I want to remind you the sale's going to end on Sunday, so you won't see me to be doing this on a regular basis, but you're going to see even tonight. You get continuation patterns or attempts at them all the time. If they fail, what do? You get your outside days. I wanted to stop that and just give you an idea of how I show this on here. I do everything and start you off typically with PowerPoints. And so I'll show you what an outside day is, and then I will expand on it. And then you'll end up with an outside day up and down. You go from there. Then we go into charts. And I will use different charts. I'll go to stocks, ETFs, and futures, because those are the markets that so many of you trade. Trying to teach you my concept of this, how it works. It's only 9 video chapters. You're going to get the exact charting software and data I use to teach you this. And then each morning, for 2 weeks, you're going to also get my complete research when you activate the course, so you can keep up with the live data as I'm doing it each morning at that time that I'm recording, which for Spiders ETFs is about 9 in the morning. And then you'll be sent that and you go, oh, look, there's what he's talking about, blah, blah. I reinforce it. Ideally, what you do is you become a regular subscriber to the Spider ETF or the futures or both. And you really get the discipline that goes with it, trade ideas, where it goes. The value of this in the software alone covers the cost of the course, just so you know. So it's a neat deal, a way to learn. You activate it when you want. So you can buy the course now. Let's assume you want to activate it middle of January. So then you do it. But you got the price locked in now because it's going up come Sunday. So you want to make that move if you're going to be smart with it. And that will go up, by the way, at Central Time. It ends at midnight on Sunday. Then it goes up to its full price. You're getting a 25% discount. Hope you like that. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the events of the day because they're important. You saw a big break in the market, and you can see all the red behind me. It's a sea of red. And that's because the final GDP numbers for the third quarter too strong. They revised them higher. The claims numbers that came in, the jobless claims, too strong. The numbers, the economy's too strong. They're not getting enough jobless claims, and the markets just got fed up with it. So normally I'd expect no volume today, but I'm telling you, the volume was there in the stock market and in the futures. I was very surprised as the market just ground people out. It's really that simple. Making matters worse, you establish some embedded bearish stochastics in stock indices today. So until that's lost, you're adding more fuel to the fire on the way down. I made a mistake this week on AMC. I had used the wrong name of one of the companies they were trying to buy. I apologize. I had mentioned the company in England. It's not. It's an American company that's in bankruptcy right now. I won't say it again so I don't screw it up, but I made a mistake and I retract it and I am sorry. The one in England does quite well. It makes money. The one here doesn't. AMC is again doing one of these deals where they're issuing another class of stock, trying to get you to buy it. As their own stock fails, the main one, and a lot of people are playing a spread. They're short AMC and they're buying these other versions that come up saying the two have to come together. I don't know if that's true, not true. It's a game that's out of my province, so I don't really study that. Mr. Brinkman of the cryptos, well, he's got a $250 million bond, but never pay attention to the amounts. They're headline numbers. The reality is, what does the judge want to take? He set it at that, but he can take a lesser amount. So he wants to a family to put up their home as a minimum. Then he wants another family member, from what I understand, to sign personally for somebody that has some wealth. And the person that signs of wealth, also another stranger, not related, they have to have significant wealth. If they're willing to personally sign for that, then Mr. Brinkman can be out on bond. If not, he'll probably go to a jail of some type. Not a prison, a jail. There's a difference between a jail and a prison. Jail's a holding cell, basically. Prison's where you do your hardcore time. And we'll see what happens with that. But he's out temporarily. We'll see what happens with that. As for other things in the market, Mr. Musk came out today, and he said, I'm not going to sell Tesla stock now for 2 years. Okay. Something bothered me when I heard that. I looked it up, and yeah, he said that once before, and then he sold the stock. That doesn't mean he has to sell the stock. Did it have an impact on the market? Yeah, you were down $12. Did you hear what I said? I'm not going to sell stock. I'm looking for the right time also to do buybacks, and the market down $12. I feel vindicated in this, AMC, because I told you, what I didn't like about Tesla, purely, while you might think it's Twitter that he bought it and turned his attention, I think it's a bigger problem. I think the world's got electric cars now. There's so many different choices. He discounted now in the U.S. 2 models of that car as well. $7,500 discounts announced today, and the stock's still down. At the end of the day, a car is a commodity. It's no different than the TVs that we all watch. Remember how expensive they were? They keep falling in value. You know, you can go out today and buy a beautiful 75-inch TV for under $2,000. Used to be $20. I can go on and on. All right, forget the smaller ones. They're $400 or $500. So, that's what goes on. Things become commodities. That doesn't mean they're not expensive commodities. I mean, a $100,000 car is a $100,000 car, right? That's still exactly what you're dealing with, or more, $150,000 for more of the luxurious electric cars. But there's cars to choose from. So it's not quite any longer the game he had all to himself. The game is changing, and going to be a lot more cars next year. All right, so together, why don't we take a look here at Oxy? Oxy's looking terrible to me. So, just look how this market keeps stepping down. Why? I'm not a fundamental trader, but there's nothing bullish on this chart. The market had tried to come out of the downtrend, and I'll back up here because I can show this real well. Let me just prove it. Here you are. Now, if you get this next day a big up day, you reverse the pattern. And what happened today is the market now fails again, made a new low. But it's not, if you reverse back through this high, this will be the bottom of the market. If you can reverse through that high in fairly fast order in the next week or so. That would be, it's a pattern that develops. Doesn't mean I'll be right in my analysis, but that's what I'd expect. Where's the market failing? It's failing on a return to the 200-day average as it comes down. Why am I mentioning where I think a bottom might come in? Because if you look at the Bollinger Band, it's right here at 59.76. You're $2 away from it, and you're embedded. I think you can still make a run there, and then the question is, do you lose the embedded reading? Until that occurs, who's got control? This. Did you hear what I just said? This. When you have an embedded reading until it's lost, it rules the day. Nothing on a chart takes the place of it. It's the top of your hierarchy chain. LIT, I just want you to look at lithium and battery tech ETF. You tell me this hasn't just come apart. Do you remember all the hype in here? You got to own this, you got to own it. And then it got under the 18-day average, came back to challenge it, and it's just gone into the bowels of you know what. Just keeps falling away, and every day almost has a lower low. It got the Gorilla Glue trade. What is that? When a market latches onto a lower or upper Bollinger Band, and it just sits there after 3 days, game over. Until it backs away from it, you don't know how low it'll go. I've had people tell me, the market can't keep doing that. Oh, really? It can't stay. I want to use my words right. It typically doesn't stay under a Bollinger Band more than 5 days in a row. It can stay an unspecified amount right on that band, hitting it, cutting to the right-hand side, smashing it again, especially when it drives the market into an embedded stage. This is called uncle. Uncle, stop, you're hurting me. I'm crying, uncle, let go of me. That's what that is. Apple. I saw that Apple, at least in the Chicago area, I read an article, if you buy a certain amount of their product, I don't know which ones they're doing, but they'll deliver it to you now in time for the holiday. So maybe they're going to hire dash drivers. I don't know how they're doing it, but they're going to make certain that you get it. Why not? It's an expensive item. Plus, their stock's getting annihilated, all right? Absolutely annihilated. Apple, thank God, has such brand loyalty that people will wait for their phones and they'll come back when they're out there. But right now, they don't have them. They're missing sales. And I know many analysts say it's a temporary loss. Those people come back. I think you're right. I don't want to give up my iPhone for an Android just because I know the iPhone so well. And by the way, when I say that, every day I'm reading new tricks about these phones for years. There are so many things hidden in them, you never know them all, but I'm really comfortable with it. You know, getting a new phone's a very personal experience. Moving from an Android to an Apple or an Apple to an Android, not the easiest experience you've ever done. Working with the different stores and all, but you've got your embedded reading. This thing's still bearish. Until you lose the embedded reading, you're in the bear camp. Disney getting the heck beat out of it, moving into the embedded status. Lower lows coming. Told you, when I saw Avatar had 134 million in the U.S. opening, lump went in my throat, and I said, this is terrible. And the reason it's terrible is it might get legs where people start saying, hey, that's a really good movie, go see it. I've seen that happen, but it generally isn't. And it's bad. How do they recoup the money? It's the most expensive film I think ever made. In XLF, all right, we're flirting here with trying to lose the embedded reading. Probably not a good place to be short anymore. It hasn't lost the embedded reading. Well, you have to close over 21 the way I teach it. You haven't done it. Take a look here, 20.61, 20.82. I mean, it's so darn close. If it drops again, fine. But this is a hard game to sell into the 200 and the 100-day average. I'll let the other guys do that. I wouldn't do that. In XLI, you're back in the bear camp with all this action, but you're oversold. You're down to the Bollinger Band. So long. I don't think there's anything there. Semiconductors are trying their darn best to find this as support, and they're failing right there. So why? Is it that we're going to have so many of them again? Could be. Is it that the market is fearful that another thing that's happening? Well, everything uses semiconductors. Is the consumer liable to get so scared in 2023 they don't buy a lot of goods? That could be. And of course, the supply chain issues aren't what they were. You got all that. I'm still wondering why the big makers like a GM hasn't released their newest Cadillac. I have a buddy that's been waiting for his for 3 months. If the semiconductors are available, what's going on? And I can't wait to ride in the car. He's got the one with the four-wheel motor, so that should be fun. The XHB, we have the higher high, lower low. And again, I don't like selling into a 100-day and the 200-day and the Bollinger Band. You do it. I want no part of it. I saw the home sales. They're terrible. They're down dramatically, but that's the government plan. At the same time, mortgage rates, remember, went up to 7.08% recently. They're down to 6.27. Under 6%, I think, is a magic number. You get under that, you're going to see the buyers show up for the late winter, spring market. That's a long way off if rates are there. In XLE, you keep failing against the 18-day average. Now, when you get the pop over that, you probably want to be long the market. In between here and there, there's nothing to do. You got a higher high and low pattern. Gold has fallen back to the 18 and the 200-day average. Now, how long has it spent over that 200? That was the problem that I was having with this. 1, 2 days there, 2 days there, and right back down. Always look at that. First challenge of that number is very important. The more you keep hitting it, eventually you get over it. And when you get over it, then you want to get long-term bullish. This is still a test zone. Certainly there's more upside bias than downside. SLV, overbought, could correct all the way back to 21.21. Copper, bearish. Again, I'm going to repeat. In China, they're getting 1 million cases of COVID a day, supposedly right now. They're equating that to 5,000 deaths a day. I read a research reports, numerous ones, by the way, that they expect that number to climb up over 4 million a day in about a week and a half, 2 weeks, as the spread of it, you know how it mutates, and we all got it, so we know what goes on. It really picks up momentum. Well, that would be 20,000 people a day, same metric. So is that bullish right now for China's economic coming out of this problem? It isn't. They first have to feel the pain of what they did, and they've just thrown the switch. I never thought they would do it this fast. Today they announced that if you traveled there from, right now it's from Hong Kong, 3 days quarantine. And then you're on your own. They're going to be no days quarantine. They're letting it spread, and they're saying, hey, what happened is the government got scared. I really believe this. When we saw the people stepping out in different cities into the street and rebelling, something you never see in Chinese society, big amounts, they had pushed too far. Just like you get into a fight with somebody, you push them too far, you never know what to expect after that. That's what happened. They'd rather have the people on their side and take care of them ill than fight the people to keep them in the way they were doing. So there's a big change of attitude on it. And that attitude's going to get people sick, going to lose people, but the government will stay in control. That too will pass. People will get over that hump and away you go. In the States, we're going through the same thing in a degree. The COVID cases are picking up, the flu's picking up. I know here, the Laurie Hospital, which is one of our main children's hospital, full to the brim with sick kids, unfortunately. And they're now saying they're getting Chicago ready. They said that come right after the first of the year, we may have to go back to mask mandates in certain public areas. We'll see how bad the cases get. So we all knew this was coming. Between the flu and your COVID shots, it's been all over TV. Go get your shots. That doesn't mean you won't get these diseases. The odds of you dying from them are very small. Don't get the shots, you're playing with, you know what. TLT, so we've got a bounce, higher high, lower low. Don't know what to do with it, it's oversold. UUP, you hitting the down here in the dollar, the Bollinger Band, you're getting your bounce away from that. And in FXE, you lost the embedded reading. I still think it's going back to 97.31, and that's where the game will try to figure out what it does. So you put it all together, you get yourself a game plan. Remember the outside day course, just move your cursor up here to get that. Remember that I'm wishing you all Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah. I will see you all over the weekend with our weekend edition. We still have trading tomorrow, and then a couple of days next week, then we're back in the saddle. All right? So this comes and goes very quickly. Stay warm. I'm Ira Epstein.